ready. I've got 4 o'clock. Am I ready? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna call quorum at 4 p.m. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the meeting, April 11th, 2017. Make a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, for anyone, we got a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the mapping report from Dave Evans. So, Dave, what do you have for us?
I printed 5 of these little packets, so it's probably not enough to go around.
We'll share.
So I'll try and run through these pretty quickly. City of Fairfield invited me to go to a city council meeting of theirs about 3 months ago now, in which they mentioned there was a couple of things they wanted to talk to me about that pertain to addressing. But one of the things they raised, and I promised them I would bring to you all at your next meeting, was the issues that sometimes have occurred with addresses on the east and west portions of Main Street. Sometimes I think the emergency responders have had some difficulty knowing where that division is, which is east and which is the western portion of Main Street. So I have printed out, I've only got 3 copies of these, but I figured it was only a small number of you that would actually need them. I think Sheriff's Department for sure will need them. Joe, you serve that area. And is there a representative of the Northeast Nelson could Mill, you perhaps forward that along to them? That sort of shows the address numbers for the city. I've actually gone out and verified most of those, and there are, color coding to show which numbers correspond with which streets. And this, is just one for the city of Fairfield. If there's any other areas where there's any ambiguity or uncertainty, I'm very happy to produce more like this, to help clear up any addressing questions.
This has created a big problem, and we've been there several times.
Oh, really?
This house driveway is off of Little Union Road.
Mm-hmm.
So the crews will see 108 and 102, but they never find 105.
Okay.
So the house, I think, faces and is addressed East Main.
Right.
But actually, you turn on Little Union and go quite a little ways to turn into their driveway.
Mm-hmm.
So that in particular, and I've had calls from the mayor about why it took us so long to get there and everything. I've got a crew, that's in an ambulance running up and down trying to find 105 because it's not marked here on the main part of the street.
If the house faces East Main,
Right.
it would serve you better if it was 104 East Main.
In this particular case, it would, because there's no identifying markings in front of this house, and at night, you can't see a number on the front door from the distance back off the road it is.
Okay.
And, the folks that have been there can then maybe jump in and say, oh, now you need to turn on Little Union Road, 105, but it jumps from 108 to 102.
Yeah.
There's no 104 to go by, no 103. And then, so new folks, that I know has created a big problem for the city council over there.
Sure.
And I get, like I said, I've got several calls on our folks taking a long time to get there. They can't find it.
Well, I'll take that to the mayor, and we'll see if we can talk to that resident if they
Put a yard sign
are
out here.
open to it. We could change the address.
Readdress it would be great. Little Union Church Road, that would take them right to it.
Okay.
But that, other than that, I don't recall any big problems on the other addresses.
Okay.
But that has been a problem for many years.
And they got the same problem in New Haven.
New Haven as well?
They have no, we always call everything to the right of Main Street East Center Street and the West Center Street. Well, legally, there's no east and west, but there is an east and west,
Okay,
just like North Fifth.
yeah,
If you look up North Fifth, even the post office, there is none, but we have it North Fifth and the South
so,
Fifth.
yeah,
And EMS has a problem with it, new deputies have a problem with it. But the number system on Versa messed up anyway. If you don't sit up here and flag it down, it's hard to find anyway.
sure, yeah.
Because it's a mess, some of them are backwards.
One thing I'd like to bring Milton on this is the E911 map that you have access to in your CAD system is probably the most up-to-date there is right now. How easy or how well distributed is that amongst the other, emergency services? Do they have web access to it, or can you print maps from it, or is it?
You guys have it as
We
part of
have
your
basically,
CAD, right?
okay, when the call comes up, there's a section where we can click that says web map.
Mhm.
We click it brings up a Google image. However, some of these new roads that have the red signs,
Yeah, they don't show
just
up.
Google's not up to date on
Well,
all
yeah,
those.
yeah.
I don't think
and
the
I'm working
Google
on
map, the
that.
web, when you click the web map, it's not using our Zerker map.
Right, it's just using Google Earth.
So I
Right.
need to check that, because I thought you guys with your MDTs would have access to that map.
Now, what we're doing, we're calling dispatch and getting the cross street, the nearest cross street to sign that, so.
Uh-huh. Well, I am working on the Google map. That's one thing that has really been a focus of mine the last month or so, trying to get it out to Google and some of the other private mapping utilities. So you will hopefully start to see, some of those red private road signs showing up in not too distant future. And maybe this is a discussion me and Mil can have, like kind of to see if there's a way that Zerk can make that map, the CAD map that they're using, more widely available to you guys, because I wasn't sure like kind of what you all use, sort of if you're if you have access to the same map, or if it's handled differently for each department or each emergency service. So that's an action item for me. And as far as providing you a map of New Haven, I can print you out a sort of 11 by 17 like that, or slightly larger, just for now, until we resolve the Zerker map question. So that's Fairfield taken care of. The next one is the new Louisville Road, the S31E project. You're probably aware is kind of getting close to completion. I think last I heard it's sort of slated September, October sort of time frame for the old Louisville Road portions to be dedicated back to the county. Which leaves this question of what's going to happen with the addressing and so on, and road names on this portion. We already have a road that's sort of informally known as Old Louisville Road, which is from the phase 1 of the project. Now, I don't know if you want to continue that Old Louisville Road up through the newer portions of the road that aren't necessarily continuous with the other sections. I've talked with the postmaster, and I've talked to some of the residents on that road, and I think they're largely in agreement that the road name ought to change. What's your thoughts? Does anybody have any objections to that, or is there an agreement that needs to happen from the emergency services point of view?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll write to these people. I've got some names identified. One of the tricky parts of it is the fact that we're not just dealing with roads exclusively in Nelson County. It actually extends out into Spencer County, and I've had some trouble getting hold of the superintendent in charge of the roads in Spencer County, but I'm hoping that maybe Judge Watts or Brad Spalding will be able to assist me with making that contact. And the road names I've identified would actually be exclusive. There's no existing roads with those names in either Nelson or Spencer County. So hopefully the residents will all be agreeable to it, both sides of the county line, and we can start readdressing those folks so that when the new US 31E is completed, everything will be all set to transition to the new roads and new addresses.
Do you have any ideas of names? Have any of them?
Yeah, I think this yellow portion of the road seen in this map, I think we might call that Salt River Road, or this little area here is actually Smithville, so it could be Smithville Road as well. The blue portion, I'm thinking that we would call that Kimberly Run Road. There is actually a Kimberly Run here in Bardstown, but it's a frontage road. It doesn't have any addresses on it. So if we were to use that road name, then we would need to make sure that we somehow took Kimberly Run in Bardstown out of the existing list of road names in the MSAC and so on. So that would be, this would be the only. We could call it, Kimberly Run Lane or something unique, but I like to try to avoid having anything that's Kimberly Run, if that's the name that we're going to use.
So that, the road that you're talking about here in Barstown, or would be any future addresses to that?
Right.
Where that's at, Freddie, is right in front of the rental store, the little furniture.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right,
all
right down from
those-
Dairy Queen. It's
Okay.
right in behind my house.
And all those businesses are actually John Rowan
Right.
addresses. They don't actually use Kimberly Run.
So that's not anything on an address at all, so the name change wouldn't hurt you.
No, I don't think that would show up on.
I mean, that's for
Because all
me
that is
to,
John Rowan, isn't it?
Right.
that's for me to confirm and make sure that there aren't any potential conflicts before
Right.
we change anything. And I don't know, these are names that I've come up with just by looking at the features. There's also a couple of farms around here. We could use the name of the farms as well in place of Kimberly Run.
Not Hatfield McCoy's or anything. Get a big fuse out there.
That's the other side of the thing.
Well, I like the fact that you're not going with anything with Louisville Road. That's where I was going.
Something
That's
quite
too
different,
confusing.
yeah.
Yes, you do.
Now, Old Louisville Road and Louisville Road creates us a problem.
Right,
Right.
yeah. And I feel like even though this is going to be a highway and restricted development, you won't see too many, sort of direct access off the new 31E Louisville Road. You are still going to have a couple of addresses that are going to be needed, and so we want to make sure that those are as unique and distinct from the ones over here on the old portion of the road that's going to be dedicated back to the county. You've got a little map. It's this guy here, which has Skip to My Farm Lane or Miners Lane. This is one right down at the south end of the project. You look in that sort of bottom right corner.
Just the yellow.
Yeah, it's.
What about going back here, is this have any name?
These are all currently addressed off Louisville Road. Now, they suggested the name Skip to My Farm Lane, which, it's green on this map and it's yellow on this one.
Oh, so
Maybe a
it's
little
here.
confusing,
Okay.
but that is the same
Gotcha.
location in both. I wasn't sure Skip to My Farm Lane would work as a name, it's too
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
So maybe we'll recommend that they go with Miners Lane. The Skip to My Farm, I think, had some had some history behind it, but Miners Lane is the more sensible, I think, name, and it's also available. It's not in use anywhere else in the county. So that's
So once you come off of this, you have two residents off of this one drive,
correct. Yes.
but that has no name.
Nope, nope. This one's a very relatively new home. It was these two, and then this third home kind of has just been added in the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 years. So it was always going to be one that we would want to name as a private road, but we were kind of waiting on this new US 31E to do it. There is another one actually up here on the yellow portion of the road, this one here, which I think is going to become Sunshine Farms Lane or Sunshine Farm. But that one, you know, that's a acceptable name. I didn't feel like it needed any sort of
No conflict.
consultation.
No conflict with
No
anything
conflict
else.
with that one, no. All right. Now we got this one here on West John Round Boulevard, this new First Care Clinic, which is going in the location of the old community bank between, I think it's Lee's Chicken and the...
Kroger.
Yeah,
Well, in front of
it's
Kroger,
in front of Kroger, yeah. Their address when it was the community bank was 106 West John Brown, which was actually somewhat duplicated by this little strip of commercial buildings right next to Kroger that includes, I think, Peebles, the Sun tanning place.
Fantasy scene.
Yeah, and yeah, it's fantastic sound.
Yeah.
They're all 106 West John Rowan as well, with unit or suite A through H. So what I'm proposing for this First Care Clinic, sure. And all these ones here on the right, they're all 100 suites, you know, A through E as well. So just wasn't really well thought out, you
Yeah,
know,
not
sort
at
of.
all.
They gave the building number, and they didn't know they were going to split it into, you know, 4 or 5 different units.
So you're proposing one.
So I'm going to call it, I would like to number it 110, which is actually somewhat out of sequence, 'cause it's between
That's what I'm
104
worried.
and 108.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
But you got Kroger's is 102, and it's just totally,
Out
there's
of,
nothing sequential, like I say, it's a mess. It's a mess.
it's a mess whichever way you split it. It's just, which is the lesser of two evils, the having 106 repeated, you know, in 2 different places, or having 110, which is,
Yeah.
I would rather have different numbers than.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two
exactly.
106.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Famous Recipe should be 110.
10, correct, you're right.
That should be
It should be 108.
try getting them to change. I mean, they might be open to it. I can
That would be,
try that.
if we're fixing it.
Yeah.
That'd be the right
And they
way.
would, and they wouldn't have a huge problem with
BJ
it.
would be up for that.
I mean, I don't think he's thinking.
I mean, if we were going to do that, I would rather make Lee's 112 or 116. Make them something completely
Something
unique.
closer to the 120.
Right, yeah. And now they could be 118. There's only one number's difference that way. And that way, you know, we're not assigning the community bank 108, which was Lee's, you know, old address. We could make them
You
all.
can still make them 110, you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Gotcha.
But still, you got 104 down on the main street and 106 behind it. Be nice to change all 3 of them.
Way that one, Freddie.
Yeah.
So that's 44.
Well, I would, I would suggest that before you do anything, ask the folks at Famous Recipe
Okay.
if they would, how much problem it would create them to get everything in sequence once and for all.
If we went to 118, it may not be as much problem for him as, changing.
Yeah, 118 or 108.
And I think you told me it was an emergency service type.
Just
Right,
forget
they're
the
very
refresher.
supportive of emergency
Sure, he's got
services.
customers that would make a difference.
Okay.
He's got to think about his advertising. and-
But like I said, BJ is very supportive.
Food deliveries
of
or
emergency
whatever,
services, so
yeah.
I don't think he'd have problems, but I think if you tell him it's for emergency service, I think he'd be happy to do it.
All they can say is no.
Okay. Well, that's what I'll do. Now, finally, a question from the Garden Park subdivision here in the city of Bardstown, where we've got a Barbary Court off a Barbary Lane. Residents have contacted me several times about deliveries getting mixed up between the two addresses. Have requested that we either change their addresses or we change Barbary Court to something else and readdress all those people. I wanted to see if this was a known issue within emergency services, whether you'd ever had any complaints or problems. You have?
All the time on Barbary Court, Barbary Lane.
You probably have the same thing, St. Thomas Loop, St. Thomas Court, St. Thomas
You do.
Lane.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably-
Well, sometimes the numbers aren't sequential either.
It creates more of a problem.
Right.
The Barbary Court creates a problem because the
The numbers.
addressing all the way around
Goes in
instead of
the- yeah.
right and left.
Mhm.
Right.
What you probably should, if we're gonna change something, that would be to
I
me. the
agree with
most-
Joe, because we run into that all the time.
Well, that's what I needed to know was, if it was an emergency services issue, as well as a FedEx and an Amazon deliveries issue, then that kind of elevates it to the point where, I need to do something about it. So I'll discuss it with our mayor, and if he's in agreement as well, then I think we'll write to the residents and tell them this is what needs to happen.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Well,
Harris.
that's all I've got. Thank you for your time. You're welcome to keep hold of those maps, or,
Next, what I want to do is, instead of going to the director's report, schedule conflicts, help out with that. We'll go ahead and Matthew, speak to the board.
Basically, I had Matthew here today because I want to get y'all's input on what you all think and how this should happen. Currently on a record rotation for vehicle accidents, if someone doesn't know what company they want to use, we say next on the list, person's on the list, they send a record out. The city has contracts with some of these companies, all of which are expired, and the contracts are signed with Rick McCubbin. In that contract, it calls out that you must maintain a certain amount of insurance. And the county sheriff's office has never had a contract with any of these guys. The reason this issue has come up is because a certain record company told a caller, and she called her insurance company. It was a car wreck. The rotation came up with this record company, and they charged her $300 and something to go to come pick up the car and take it back to their lot. Well, there's some issues with that because of the location of the company. This company charged mileage to the wreck, charged mileage back to their lot. They charged an amount of recovery that could be deemed excessive, and what he said he did, he didn't actually do. And the same company I personally had an issue with on towing a vehicle on a drug seizure, and his opinion was that if we were gonna make money off of it on a drug seizure, then he was gonna make money too. So we've got to do something, whether we do it as the dispatch board or whether we do it as an agency. I'm gonna draw some type of contract. Being that the dispatch center is the one that's running the list, I would like for Bardstown and Nelson County to have the same rotating list. And come up with the qualifications that it's gonna take to get on that list. And if a complaint's received, what gets you cut off that list. And, I brought Matthew along because I wanted him, because I have a couple of different things. If the board decides that they wanna leave it up to the policing agency, my opinion is that I'm gonna submit a price sheet to these companies. They're gonna fill out what their prices are. Still gonna have a contract that says if you violate these prices, you'll be kicked off. Well, because I contemplated bidding it out to one company. All right, and I don't think that they're happy with that. But on the other hand, if they submit these prices, I'm gonna provide those to the consumer and show them the location of the company, since they want to charge distance from where their home is or business is, and hand that to the person and make them choose. And then if the person's unable to choose, then I'm gonna have my deputy choose for them based on the prices that are on those sheets. And so it's in the beginning stages. I personally think that this ought to go through the dispatch board and have consistency with the agencies. But if the dispatch board doesn't want to take it, I want to do something at our agency and have them draw up a contract and make them required. The reason why the city's list is different than the county's list is because of the insurance amount. And, you know, it's the county's dispatch center, and no one company, I don't think, has a right to mandate that they're on that list. And we're opening a door for them to have guaranteed business at any price that they want to charge, because they're gonna hold the vehicle hostage. And not all these companies do that, I'm just saying, but it's being done. And, we need to fix it.
Yeah,
I have a copy of the city's contract, and I thought I had it in that notebook, and I left it on my desk. So, I mean, I can give Matthew something to work off of, but we need to decide how we're gonna do it. Whether it's, we're gonna leave the same companies on the list, whether we're gonna bid it out to one company, or whether they're gonna have to produce the insurance, sign the contract, and if they violate the contract, they're kicked off the list, as they say.
but we had this problem before. We had a meeting with all the record services. Some of our problem was, you know, if you call them, wasn't the answer, you go to the next on the list. Well, they said it's not right. If you're gonna be on the list, you take that call. You either take the call or you get off the list.
Sure.
You know, because you're delaying a lot of time, depending on where you are, what situation you're in, you know. We kind of left it up to them, but the board does need something to say about it, because we're gonna check the rotation list, we're gonna check this, and we're gonna be the ones to actually say, well, this one didn't show up, this one didn't answer, this one this. So I think it needs to be with the board also. Like I said, they kind of worked it out the last time, and I'm sure we're back to where we were. There's some, it's not, I can't make it, or just call me from 8 to 4, you know.
No.
I agree.
That was the problem years ago. They wanted it 8 to 4. One record service wanted 8 to 4, 5 days a week. Other than that, they didn't want it. Well, that don't work. When you're on the list, you go down the
You're on
list.
call.
You take it, or you get off the list.
So,
Or you refuse the call.
I guess, so this ball doesn't stop, where do you all want to take this? Do you want to discuss it here and now, decide which direction we want to go and have the contract drawn up today? Do you want to put it on a committee meeting and come up with the ideas, have the contract drawn up and brought in and then re-voted on? I wanted to move something fairly,
Well, I
fairly
think the two
quickly.
agencies need to get together, if you all have a mutual agreement, then you all need to decide it and then bring it to us.
Okay.
Only thing we're gonna do is, we're gonna be recording and things like that anyways, basically what we're gonna do. And, making the calls, but, and that way, we'll have something that says, this is the way it is, not Blue Hay wants it this way, Parktown wants it this way, Burnsville wants it this way, it's all just
So,
right down.
So, you three guys will get together,
Yes,
Yeah.
we can do that.
No, we can do that.
they won't give you they'll be the committee, basically. And then we'll get with them on what we want written up, and they'll bring it back to you. That'll work.
The main thing is just.
It's gotta be fair.
Yes, it
Be
does.
fair.
That's the problem.
Not
Can't
only
be
just
gouging
record
people.
driver, but
No.
our dispatchers that are doing the job.
Right.
Right.
You got a record driver that got skipped over,
Well,
then he's calling dispatcher, ripping dispatcher because he got skipped over.
Well, you need a contract too, because I know the dates and times that these two incidents I'm referring to happened, and it's grounds to be kicked off the list, but we don't have any paperwork to stand on to do it,
And that's what we need. We need something in writing that takes everything.
okay, that's what we'll do, bring it back to you.
That's my kind of meeting right there, fellas.
No input, you don't see.
If you want to stick around, we might have to ask you something legal.
All right, go ahead. If you want me to, if you're serious, sure.
Well, I want to give you something and you go think about it.
Okay?
And then we'll get your opinion on it.
We need a county attorney on this board, I think.
Easy.
Hey, the last one was,
Last year,
For what?
we incorporated, Tom Stoneham and Debbie took care of this. They made us in class C corporation.
I've been there before.
Yeah, substandard up there.
Sitting, waiting for the record, and that thing was in place. Then you take the time to everybody show when you do your stuff. Well, I feel it's gonna be $30. That's not good.
Because I think that's the max is 30 minutes a day.
Maybe for you guys, we've been on saying. How long did y'all wait on?
I think it is.
I mean, it's just, it just varies, it depends on the circumstances.
It will be busy.
I
can go.
The fact
Appreciate it's gonna take a little
Yep,
time.
all right, see y'all.
That's the least.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep. Least amount of concerns from our perspective. I think our concern from our perspective is the fact that somebody may be taking advantage of.
Yes.
Due to an unfortunate circumstance that may or may not be, in their control. So, okay, so
right.
back to director.
Yeah, back on agenda, okay.
You got it?
Yeah, director's report,
Gotta
yeah.
be out of here at 5 o'clock.
The 911 Services Board grant application has been completed and submitted. That was end of last month. We'll find out about our request come August. There have been some changes to the 911 Services Board. You may or may not be aware of the governor has restructured it. It went from 15 members to 5. Of course, one of the representatives was Senator Jimmy Higdon, who's been a big help to us. He's no longer on that board. The staff members also who were our contacts, the executive director, deputy administrator, they're all gone. So a whole new crew up there. And I have met with the new administrator when I hand delivered that application grant up there. And he says there'll be little in the way of change. We're not going to see any less money. He says possibly more money because they're saving money on salaries. So we'll see how that goes. But also the lock on the back door dispatch has been replaced. One thing, Judge Dean Watson, Mark Young for taking care of that for us. Of course, that was a security issue during last week's ordeal. I'd also like to commend Detective Mike Watson, Lieutenant Keelan Matthews for the great job with the Nelson County Sheriff's Office Citizens Academy. And also big thanks to you guys for including dispatch in it, letting us be a part of it and let people know what we do. I've also received two bids for the flooring, and this is them. I'll pass out and get those out there. The one from Corbin's for the carpet tiles is $23.86, 16 cents. For vinyl planks, it's $23.44 16 cents. Lowe's $23.59 for tiles and $38.17.41 for vinyl planks. The vinyl planks, I think we can stand up to the wear and tear. but with the radio equipment, it's going to kill the acoustics of that room. So I personally think the carpet tiles is going to be the best route to go. And then if there's some spillage, we just pop a tile up, replace it with a new. So,
That's installed for us.
yeah, that's installed and hauled off the old stuff and everything.
Okay, well, make a motion on that? To approve that?
I can't make a motion. but-
All right, that's what I'll do then. All right, so, with the carpet tiles, I guess with Lowe's being the cheaper of the two, make a motion to approve that. Is that?
Mike.
Mike? Have a second? You second? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries for Lowe's.
I've also received a request from Nelson County Fire to make some changes to radio traffic and in addition to the automatic and mutual aid agreements. I personally would like to defer that to the fire chiefs for you guys to have a meeting and discuss it because from a dispatcher point of view, it needs to be consistent. If I do it for New Haven Rolling Fork, I need to do it for Bardstown and for Nelson County and Northeast Nelson. So I'd like to defer any changes to our operations and fire to the fire chiefs.
It's going to be an automatic, and everybody needs to know what it is.
Right. One other thing, I've been working with actually I got more than one other thing, so I'm kidding there, but working with the auditor and accounting staff at Hibbs and Associates to finalize and complete our audit. Has to be done by the end of the month, so I'll have that for us soon. As some of you know, I've heard from the Kentucky Retirement System about our participation in the program. Of course, with the help of Senator Jimmy Higdon, we have made some progress. They've determined that the center is eligible. They'll allow a 3-month trial participation. At the end of those 3 months, the full board will vote on it. They want to see, can we report properly? Can we pay in properly? So forth and so on. So they'll vote on that at the end of 3 months. However, they're not sure about the last year and a half. KRS says no, but the KRS board realizes that a lot of this problem is on them because they've held the process up. So they're looking at that. No definitive answer on that right now. Late found out that apparently with the way that we were set up last year with incorporation, we're not quite set up quite right with the state. If we were a merger between two agencies, county, city, we would be exempt from having to have the state contracted healthcare. It's not proper, so we are not exempt. And I believe that's what you were talking with Matthew about was our classification. So we'll.
Not really knowing, I'll jump in. After Milt brought that to my attention, I went online to the state and see what our actual corporation is, and we are actually a subchapter C. I'm not sure why the attorney did that last year. We should be a nonprofit 501c3. So that's what I talked to Matthew about, to dig into that and see what it's going to take to get us over there, because really we're classified as a for-profit entity company, as we say. So we're looking to dig into that.
So we can, first off, we have to pass a resolution requesting or accepting inclusion and participation in the Kentucky Retirement System. If we vote on that today or tomorrow, we can go retroactive to the first day of this month, or we can elect to go the first day of next month. And I don't know if we want to move forward. But
I want to make a
I'm all in favor.
motion.
Yeah, entertain a motion to move forward with
I make
that.
a motion that we move forward with the retirement system. And as part of that motion, to look at our classification of corporation and see if that needs to be changed.
Do both those need to be referred to Matthew, or?
No, the one is referred to Matthew on the corporation.
Okay.
Milt we just need a resolution
Okay.
from the board for the retirement system. So that'd be my motion to to have the resolution done.
So how are we going to file a resolution?
I've got the,
He has it. He's already got it. Yeah, so we need to have Caitlin sign off on it.
Okay.
I second it, nobody had already.
Okay. All right, all in favor? All right, any opposed? Motion carries. Good deal.
all right, I know we're short on time, so I've got my last moment here. Finally, and certainly not least, we've had 3 dispatchers receive commendations recently over the last month. First, part-time dispatcher Austin Hale received a letter from Deputy Brandon Bryan on his handling of a suicidal caller in May. According to the commendation, Austin kept the caller on the line and helped units locate the subject, as he was not from here and really didn't know where he was at. The subject asked officers specifically to thank Austin for staying on the phone with him and for simply caring. So that was a great job there. Secondly, during the early morning hours of June 5th, dispatchers Missy Lanham and Shanna Chenshire worked on a high-stress incident involving a pursuit that ended in the back door of the Justice Center, basically. In addition to their normal duties, the two maintained a continuous and accurate flow of information between the multiple agencies involved. Letters have been received from both Chief Steve Urim and Sergeant Jeremy Cawley, and all three should be applauded for a job well done and for representing Nelson County Dispatch Center in a professional and effective manner.
Now, with the board, I'm going to give Judge Watts a copy of that.
I've got a copy of that.
Maybe some recognition from the fiscal court on that, on both scenarios.
And that, gentleman, is all I have.
All right, next on the agenda, committee reports. Personnel Committee, salary recruitment retention, Mike?
I have three issues for us to discuss rather quickly from the Personnel Committee. We've met and we have talked and discussed about in the regards of salary recruitment and retention of our dispatchers, a 3% increase in pay to match the county pay increase. We feel that that's going to be a solid move on the behalf of dispatch to keep the good dispatchers that we have and continue growing in the right direction.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve that with a 3% salary.
I've got a question on it. We've done it in the past, is we've taken all the salaries, went to an average, and then took the 3%, and everybody got the same amount of raise.
Okay.
You might want to go on with your rest of your.
Okay, yeah.
So Freddie gets up to speed here.
Yeah, okay. The second aspect is that we wanted to go with, we had talked about a dollar raise for each dispatcher across the board to substantiate and concrete that recruitment and retention issue that we're dealing with. And then the third thing, lastly, is a night shift leader with a pay increase of up to $1 was the other aspect that we had talked about as well.
Does that kind of answer a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's long overdue, because it's
Yeah.
most underpaid people.
Sure.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And I would have no problem with that. If we can make it work in the budget, that's what I would like to see.
Okay. And looked at the numbers are,
Numbers.
Yeah, I'll give you that in the budget report, so you're gonna make that motion now.
So I'm gonna make the motion to the ladder of your.
make a motion for the 3% increase, the dollar across the board.
Now, are we gonna do both 3% increase and
And the dollar across the board.
Yes, okay, that's where I have a problem. I
Okay.
would like to see a 3% overall average. If I'm making $12 an hour, and this is making $18 an hour, we need to meet the middle and make it 3%. A lot of people think, and I'll argue with them, but I think most people, when they're hired in, they're either hired in due to the experience they've got, so their scale is up there.
Sure.
3% here and 3% here is two different things, so. One keeps getting richer, and this one's just barely climbing the ladder. I like to see it average out. If it averages out to, we pay $15.90 an hour, I'd like to see 3% of that across the board. That way your $12 an hour
That's
people.
the precedence that's been set in the past.
Yeah, that way your $12 an hour people they're doing the same job. It's $12 or $18, they're doing the same job.
No,
So this one's
exactly
getting
what you're saying.
40 cents and this one's getting 60 cents. To me, it's not right.
Now, on the other hand, the argument would be devil's advocate. I've been here a lot longer, I've got more experience, why am I getting the same raise that the person just started 3 months ago?
Right.
I'm just-
And
I don't have a problem with that.
And the thing with that is, Yeah, I mean,
In the past,
just
we've
because you've
always
been there 20 years, does
averaged out
that mean you're doing a better
to
job?
quarter,
No.
30 cents.
Say you really
Valid point, valid point.
Just because you
money
better-
raise, not percentage raise.
That's what we did in the
Yeah.
past. We took the 3%, averaged all the salaries together, hourly wages together.
But in this case, and that's what I think is gonna be the discussion point is, what the personnel committee was recommending was 3% of what they're making right now, plus a dollar an hour
Plus
across
a
the
dollar
board.
put in.
But 3% was based on what they're making now, not 3% average.
3% average.
Yeah, so if we do the average, I don't know how that's gonna affect the overall budget, because that would change that number some.
Yeah, we can jump it a little bit.
Right, right. Yeah, it'll increase it some, depending on,
Well, what I was-
depending on what the split is between the
Actually,
hourly
it shouldn't
rates.
make any difference.
Right, right.
If we pay out 100,000, regardless of what they're making, we're only paying 103,000. Regardless of if I'm making 12 or 18, if you average it, you're still gonna have the same amount of money in the budget, same penny, like down the side. But I always thought that was fair. I've had
I understand what you're saying.
everybody in the world disagree with it, but I think that one dispatcher still does the same job as the other. If I've been here 18 years, I've had 18 years of increases.
If y'all want to talk about something else real quick, I'll run in here to a calculator. We'll see how it bounces.
Yeah, we'll see that.
The last part of that we discussed with personnel was the shift leaders. But that's
And the
gonna be-
shift leader part, you know,
You got a calculator on that, Jim?
on your phone.
I can use it.
and I think before we put the shift leader in, there needs to be a list of qualifications, is what you have to meet.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, they'll have that.
Yeah, Phil had that. Right.
Yeah,
That's in addition to what we,
right,
to
exactly.
what we have.
Right.
And we talked in the personnel committee, Freddie, there's no personnel power. That 40 lots on the director. So, because that gets into some gray area and some problems down the road. This is to, when there's an issue, in my absence, make a decision, make it happen. And then of course, not to take me out of the loop, but make the decision, make things happen, and then let me know,
Yeah.
this is what happened.
And it's long
we took
overdue.
care of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And two, it's gonna create conformity, accountability, and, consistency.
Right.
If you got all your shift leaders are all on the same page, he's gonna be able to direct these people to all the ducks are going in a row,
Right.
instead of everybody doing whatever they need to be doing.
Should be about 40 cents an hour.
It's gonna be close. That'll be close. Note to the director, we need to bring a calculator next time.
Yeah.
We discuss financial aspects.
Live and learn.
48 cents.
48 cents.
So we're talking about $1.48 increase per employee.
Yeah.
Yes,
That'd be pretty nice.
I take it.
And that's retaining some people.
Do you know how that's gonna affect the budget?
It should, because you're gonna have the same money there for it,
Well, it'll be a little bit different because you've got some higher paid people.
but your higher paid people, theirs is coming down and this is going up. On your average, you're paying 3% of all your payroll. It's gonna be the same pennies.
It'd be close. It's a $44,000 hit on budget, the way it was figured. So it's gonna be less than 45.
Okay. But we're still safe.
You want to jump the budget? No, let's don't jump the budget yet. Get this out of the way.
So do you need it, would it make more sense to redo the motion as $1.48 versus 3% and $1?
Well, I like the 48% cost of living increase.
I got you.
And then giving $1 across the board as just verbiage.
So at 3% average,
An average.
3% average.
No, I don't know if I'd get into, because then you're.
Okay,
I
you're
wouldn't
splitting.
say average.
Right, you're splitting a lot of.
I'd say that we, we are going to give a cost of living increase of 48 cents.
Okay.
Across the board.
That's one thing, right?
And then a retention recruitment
Increase of $1.
Across the board.
$1,
Okay.
Okay.
as well as whatever you were going to do for new hires.
That was what, 50 cents additional?
Okay, so the verbiage on this, we'll do 48-cent increase on the cost of living.
Cost of living.
Okay, we got a motion on, I'll entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so there's 48 cents. $1 per hour across the board.
for salary recruitment and retention.
Yes, salary recruitment and retention. Make a motion on that. Anybody?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay, second.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And we have,
Tom.
for the night shift leader,
Personnel committee recommends night shift leader with a pay increase up to $8
up to $1. Okay,
per team. So it'd be two.
That's 2 people. So we got 2 here.
two people. Okay. How do you all feel about $1 for that? I'll ask, open on that, $1 for that discussion.
I think you're going to have to do something for responsibility.
Yes, and I'm thinking $1 typically is typically.
Now, I'll add something to that we talked about before. If person A says, I don't want to be shift leader anymore, there needs to be something there that says, okay, you have that.
You lose that $1 that you.
Or you lose another shift, or.
You lose that amount of money. That
So that can be, I guess, word redacted if you withdraw from that.
That goes with the
That needs to
position.
be listed as a title fee.
Okay, so, all right. So the verbiage on that, I'm gonna say $1 for the night shift leader.
Up to $1.
Up to $1 for the night shift leader. That can be withdrawn if they are not in that position any longer.
Goes
If
with
they-
the
if they-
position.
Right.
Stays with that position.
As long as they're with that position, but if they're not, that is removed. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve that. I'll make a motion on that.
I'll second.
All right. We got Mike, do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Yes.
Mike first, do we have a second?
I'll say.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for that. Now, is there one more?
453.
Starting pay for.
Oh, starting pay for the increase
up.
for
Yeah,
starting
keep
pay
up.
be a 50 cent
Which-
increase for starting pay. Of course, then we have our 50 cents for Lincoln CIC and 50 cents additional for telecommunications completion. So if someone goes to the academy, they get an extra $1 at the completion of that academy.
But we're already doing that.
Right, yeah.
All right, so we don't need a
Just-
motion,
we
we just need a motion on the
Increase,
50
I think.
cent.
You want
Just
to
on
increase it starting
right.
by 48 cents.
48 cents.
Yes,
Current starting.
that is correct. yes.
So that would be a separate.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion for the 50-cent pay increase.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay, second?
Sure.
Okay.
What is the motion?
For the 50-cent pay increase.
48
Needs to be
48 cents, sorry, 48%. 48 cents.
48 cents,
On our starting.
Start off first.
48%.
There you go.
Damn, son.
All right,
I'll
so,
apply for that.
so Freddie's the first on that one, Joe, and Tom second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries.
Okay, I'll just give you roughly
6 minutes.
our,
You get 6 minutes.
Yes, that's right.
yeah, roughly, we start our folks out, starting out at 1250 now. Up from 1152, basically, if they do the Lincoln CIC. Our highest paid dispatcher will be at 1230, and, no, correction, 2004 is our highest paid. And our lowest paid working now will be 1287. So, those are the ones that's
Still not where it should be, just a lot better.
It's better, still not
Yeah.
enough, but you know,
What we got?
we do what we can do
That's
with
right,
what we've
that's right.
got.
Mhm.
All right, it might not do a whole lot.
No,
But I
it's-
still stand behind the people.
All right,
Absolutely.
so next up, I've got equipment, recording system grant and the tower maintenance update. Joe?
Recording system grant, Milt has filed for CMRS grant to replace the recording system. It's outdated and that looks pretty good. I think that'll happen. Tire maintenance update, Salt Road Tire, folks were out there, re-guided and climbed it, checked all the connections and cables last Wednesday. So that's a 3-year deal. We won't have to do that again. We talked to the judge about who covers that cost, and the county's gonna cover that cost. So that won't be a cost that we'll incur.
The south tire, we're gonna knock that dirt down around that.
Yeah, and we got
Smooth that
a
out a little
fence,
bit.
we got a fence that we
have
need to
do a
put
fence.
down there.
KRM's not willing to give up any fence.
We have a police officer down there with a Bobcat that might go around there and smooth that up.
Well, we just bought a brand new Kubota backhoe combination, everything deal down there for the city, so we should get there.
If we work it up,
Well, I've been told them it needs to be
the
done.
road department said they'll put the fence up.
Okay.
Okay, and then next budget?
Budget, just quickly update you. Right now, we are standing at a $250,000 surplus in our budget. That does not include our retirement of $130,000 out of that. The increase in our budget that we've already submitted would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $45,000 for our salary increase. We're expecting, looking at the numbers currently on our cell phone, which have gone up this year due to the cell phone towers don't get fee reimbursement for their infrastructure. That law changed last July, so we're actually getting about 10,000 more a quarter. So we're looking at having about 40,000 more in cell phone monies this year. And now that we've seen 1 year of the tax coming in on the property tax, we budgeted 445. That looks like it's going to be closer to 475. So we're looking at maybe 30 there. So our salary increase is going to be a wash, but we'll do an amendment, but the revenues are going to be there to cover it.
Have any old business? No. New business? Well, it covers that. Yep. All right, so we'll set the date and time for the next meeting, which is,
Did you want to say anything, or you here for the next? Or you don't need to be addressing us with anything?
No, just observe.
How's your director doing?
We don't get it.
Oh, 3 minutes.
Put me on the spot.
You got 2 minutes.
all right. So we're looking at what, September, right? Or June, July?
What is our official, the second Tuesday of the month, or?
Second Tuesday is normally what we've been trying to get.
September 5th.
September the 5th at 4 o'clock.
September 5th is the second Tuesday.
No, 12.
Or the 12th, 12th.
That is Bourbon
It's a
Festival
short
weekend,
week.
so.
Oh.
It's a leap week.
That's Bourbon Fest.
Bourbon Fest was at the 12th?
That's
Be a
the,
good time to meet.
Or is that the 19th week?
It'll probably be the 9th. It's the third week in September.
All right, so we're good. Second. All right.
Tuesday.
So we're on count 12.
Yeah,
Should be.
September 12th at 4 p.m.
return to the library.
Okay.
If I'm not
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Who was the motion there? Come on.
Any opposed?
Who was first, second?
I'll second it.
You second?
Mhm.
Michael first.
All were in favor. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're gone.
Good job.